Christmas is a time of need, and sometimes we think of giving when we hear bells. Hello and welcome to 18 WJTS in.form. I'm your host, Bill Potter. Joining me in the studio is Pastor William Covey with the First Church of the Nazarene. Today we're going to be talking about bells, and when we associate bells at Christmas, no, not Santa Claus or jingle bells, we're thinking about Salvation Army bells, because this is the time that you can start giving for the Salvation Army. And Pastor, you are with the First Church of the Nazarene. However, you also run the Salvation Army bell ringing program.
Well, I'm actually the coordinator for Du Bois County for Salvation Army, recruited over 20 years ago. And for the past 20 years, I've been doing all of the work for the Salvation Army within Du Bois County.
And that really is basically ringing the bells in front of some stores to collect money for the needy.
Yes, originally when we got started, I did a lot of that bell ringing myself just to get the program off the ground. But our first year, we went from $3,000 to over $17,000, and that made a great increase in our ability to meet the needs of the needy in our community. And the Key Club at Jasper takes the Friday evenings and Saturdays throughout the season for us, and that means we have high school kids involved in realizing their opportunity to help the needy.
And of the funds that you raise, how much stays within this community?
We always try to keep it within a 20-80%. 20% goes to the headquarters in Indianapolis and is dispersed for other things. We keep 80% of it here in Du Bois County, and we give it away each year.
To needy families.
To needy families, and it doesn't just mean a needy family today. We all have people that live right on the edge of a paycheck. So if somebody gets sick or laid off, I'm the first place that they'll probably show up. And when they show up, they're embarrassed. Sometimes they don't want to be there. And I try to put them at ease and help them to realize that could be any of us at a given time if the circumstances are right. So it's a beautiful story when you're able to say to a mother that can't provide Christmas, we've got this for you. And we write the voucher check, and they're able to go out and do their own shopping.
Well, before that can happen, there's two things that you need. You need volunteers to help ring the bells to collect the money, and you need folks that go by to give the money. Let's talk about how you get volunteers.
Volunteers, we actually, in Huntingburg, we are part of the Ministerial Association, and we hand out volunteer sheets for them to sign up at the individual churches. We try to do it in an hour-and-a-half slots. Some people drive a distance to do this, so they'd rather do 2 slots at a time. But we do it at an hour and a half because sometimes the weather is not kind to us during this time of the year, so we want to make sure that we don't put somebody out there for too long a time if the weather is bad. But as far as the giving, it happens at the Kmart store. We ring at, and we also ring at both doors at the local Walmart stores.
So if somebody wants to volunteer, what can they do? What should they do?
What should they do? If they attend one of the local churches in Huntingburg, they need to ask their pastor or pastoral staff about the sign-up sheet and get signed up. If they want to call and sign up, they can call my cell number, which is 812-631-6120. Or they could call the church office at the Church of the Nazarene, and that number is 812-683-3527. Our office dispenses all of this money, but we're in coordination with all the other charitable givings in our community so that we assist each other, and sometimes we have to pool our money to make something big happen, but we pool our money together and we get it done.
If somebody wants to volunteer, you could take an individual who just has some spare time and would like to help out, or groups or families.
Yes, for instance, the Key Club is the heart of what we do, because if they hadn't have taken it on years ago as a project and continued to do so, we wouldn't get off the ground. And now we're tapping into some of our seniors and our seniors are coming up and beginning to volunteer, and we're doing better and better each year.
Okay, so we need volunteers right now. Volunteer now, even right up to Christmas. If you finally find that you have some time the week of Christmas, I'm sure they could call you and say, I've got some time, can I help you out?
Yes, we can always work with you from the time of the weekend of Thanksgiving all the way to Christmas Eve. We generally quit ringing when they close the store at 6 o'clock.
Now, I'm sure that people put their change in there, some dollar bills, some 20s maybe. Can they also put a check in?
They can put a check in if they like, and they just make it out to Salvation Army,
okay,
and we'll take the check that way. Over the past, for a segment of, I think, 6 years or 7 years, we got a Cougaron, which is a gold coin that is an ounce of pure gold. And the first one we got was worth $525. The last one we got sold for $1,600.
Wow.
So there's somebody in the community that was very faithful over those years to just take and wrap a dollar around a Cougaron and drop it in. And what a boost it was to the Key Club. Usually on a Friday evening it would come in. That's an anonymous donor. We don't know who it was, but what a blessing it was to the host system. It just gave us a boost of energy that we were looking for.
That is terrific, and thanks for doing the good work that you do in helping out the Salvation Army.
Thank you. It's a privilege for me to be able to serve.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, just that we need those volunteers. So if you have time, if you could make it a project for your family and do it with your children, it's a good opportunity to teach your children what it is to volunteer.
And that's a great opportunity. That even a 5-year-old can have a good time ringing that bell right by the bucket and feeling good about what they're doing.
There's always something about bells that bring us a shine to everybody's eyes. And so when you can ring a bell and greet somebody in a holiday season, it just brings a joy that we all need in our lives.
Pastor, thank you very much for being our guest.
Thank you.
We have had as our guest Pastor William Covey with the First Church of the Nazarene. He is the coordinator for the Salvation Bell Ringing Campaign in DuBois County. Contact him if you would like to volunteer, or better yet, when you see the bells out, the bell ringers, make sure that you put some sort of contribution in the kettle that is there. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you for watching WJTS. We're local people watching local people.